the troubles of time, boy, was us to be another way. You can't tell your brother that he's doing something's wrong without having to argue, 'cause of the pressure of time. Yeah, Babylon's got to hold on our throat, running our belly like sweet nanny goat, reaching for a dream which we cannot achieve, slaves by our mind when we think we are free. Well, think we are free, caught into a trap, no easy way out, fighting to stay alive with the system on our back, caught into a trap, no easy way out, fighting to stay alive with the system on our back. Yeah, intimidation by segregation, it's a racial conception. I caught society in the heights of hypocrisy. The blind cannot lead the blind. Someone has got to see, or we'll never escape this illusion the system has placed on our mind. It's just a chain we got to break, yeah. Babylon's got to hold on our throat, running our belly like sweet nanny goat, reaching for a dream which we cannot achieve, slaves by our mind when we think we are free. Well, think we are free, caught into a trap, no easy way out, fighting to stay alive, Lord, with the system on our backs, caught into a trap, no easy way out, fighting to stay alive with the system on our backs. Got it! Big and naya, cut the tail of the wicked possessed boy.
Good night, good night, good night. Actually, good morning. Caught in a Trap. That's the song for the segment. You people are really caught in a trap, especially the ones who do not see, who have eyes to see and still can't see. Excuse me. And have ears to hear, still can't hear. All glory and praise to the Most High, Father Yahuwah, Elohim. All glory and praise to Yahushua HaMashiach. And all glory and praise to the Ruach HaKodesh. And this is Linus on the rise. And still rising. Hallelujah. So, by His wonderful grace, I am here again, trying to wake people up and send this alarm, that this urgency that people have to start shaking themselves and stop getting caught up with the mainstream, with every day-to-day life. A lot of people are very consumed with every day-to-day life, and those are the things you ought not to be caught up with right now. And that is one of another main distraction of the enemy, of the devil, right? He has so many weapons of distraction out there against the people today. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I tell you. And as I had pointed out in some of my segments already, that's the social media, with all these different social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of these things, and like that, we still use them to get the information out there, but there's so much other crap on YouTube. There's so many, there's witchcraft going on YouTube. There's so many things that are still, the devil still use these platforms to still fulfill his agenda as well, right? The other thing I wanted to point out is that we need to, people are still being too absorbed with the wrong things, and these weapons of distraction it's really it's lethal. So here I am, and one of the things I wanted to talk about, and I've been trying to bring into my segments. I know I talk to you all about this transhumanism, and they are doing human hybrids, which is probably, I'm so they already have them. Okay, once they start talking about it, they already got it. Okay, there's so many things that this world and this government is doing that you people have literally no clue, and have not had no clue of what they are doing for many, many, many years. So, and I don't even know that the authentic date and time of these videos, because most of these videos, people put them out there. When they get them, they put them out there. But I'm sure it's not that old, And finally, I'm taking the opportunity to put a segment together to include it. Now, this segment is going to be a little bit, I want to kind of dedicate it. I got the inspiration from it to do it is Pastor Stephen Darby. And if any of you all have not, inquire about this pastor, I really go YouTube him, and you will find him. I urge you, go and check him out, because he's passed on, and and I believe that's a blessing for him. But he put out so much truth, and that's so rare in the pastors that we have today. That's why the Father said, "Woe to my worthless shepherds who have led the flock astray." So one of the things that I was inspired to do from him is when he said, and I totally agree with him, and I think I said, I got to find a way to make this a segment, because it makes a lot of sense. And I think many of you all people are so caught up in your jobs and whatever little, even your little pet projects you all may be having going. I mean, it's nice to keep building and working on things, but right now, really, ideally, the only thing people need to be building now is building their relationship with the Most High and Yahushua, because all of these things and all of these new media, websites and stuff that is good is for black people now. And I'm not saying people are not to keep living. We have to keep living in the productive way. But people really need to be focusing on the Most High and Yahushua, because many of you all, because you are distracted with these things, you're not being focused on Him, and you're not being focused on the real issue and the way and the course and direction this world is going into. All right. So, anyways, here's how I'm going to go over it. And let me say my psalm. Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High should abide in the shadow of the Almighty. I say of Yahuwah, He is my refuge and fortress. In Yah will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the deadly pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that fly by day, and nor for the deadly pestilence that stalketh in the darkness, or destruction that raises up noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come near thee. Only with thy eyes should thou behold and see the reward of the wicked, because thou hast made Yahuwah, which is my refuge, the Most High, thy habitation. There no evil shall befall thee, neither shall any plague come near thy dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge of thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in the hand, lest you dash your foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder and the young lion and serpent thou shalt trample under feet. Because he cleaves to me, I will protect him. When he calls to me, I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. And with long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation. Okay. Hallelujah. And the other scripture that I'm going to say before getting into it is this. I'm going to say this first scripture, and the other scripture I'm going to talk about is Proverbs. Because I was trying to figure out what scripture I'm going to use to talk about this show. And what would be the best scripture would describe it. And the Lord said, you know what? You go to Proverbs, wisdom, and sure enough, it's 22. I tell you, the Father is speaking loud and clear tonight. Okay? If you all only understand what 22 really means, that's His word. That's His word. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to explain this. I do know how to explain. I'm trying to tell you people, the Father is the Word. He is the Remember, He is everything. And right now, this word is His word, His actually voice that He told me He wanted me to say in this segment today. Because I couldn't figure out what exact scripture I could use with this. But anyways, the topic of this segment is going to be the one and only purpose one should have in life is not to go to hell. That's what Pastor Darby had said, and I had so agreed with him. I mean, knowing all the truth that I know now, because before, many of us, let's just talk about this. The first thing that we aspire to do is about going to, we're built in to go to college. We need to go to college. We need to get a career. And, they have all these careers already outpicked for you. You have a choice to pick from all these umpteen different kinds of careers, and, whether it be in engineering, science, math, medical field. I mean, this already laid out for you. There's not a career there that you can't say that it's not available to you that you can pick. But to me, ultimately, these choices are being provided for you. It's still a choice that benefits this world, and it still keeps you involved in this beast of a system. And when you think about it now, and finding a career is one of the things that you encourage you to have a career, right? You go to college, you have to spend, like, I don't know, the amount of money you all spend in college is ridiculous. You end up spending more money in college than actually making in the lifetime after you get out of college. Because when you get out of college, many of y'all, I don't know what kind of jobs you all getting. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I know you all have to be going through them. People who have gone to college and who listen to this segment, I know you are going to be able to resonate with what I'm saying, because it's all a lie. Okay, it's literally a lie. You do not get the job that commensurate with the salary you should get with the money that you spent to pay for the college in the first place. I mean, some of you will come out of college with like 60, 70,000 grand, 80, 100. I mean, even I don't know. It's just tremendous. But anyways, the point I'm trying to say is, these are the things that people have made priorities in your life, in life overall, right? Going to college, you want to build a career. The next thing they push on you is then you got to buy that home. You got to have your own home. You want to have your own home. You want to have your own property. This is all chopped up to be the so-called American dream, which none of us end up achieving, because it's not meant for us to achieve in the first place. It's just all a lie. It's a trap to set you up that causes you to be funneled in the system. It's a law. It's like they lure you in with these fantasy dreams that you're going to accomplish all of these things, And some of you all may feel like, oh, you're being so self-sufficient, and you're doing your own thing, and you're accomplishing, you're making money, but it's still all illusion. Is about to collapse on all of you all. You know what I'm saying? And none of you are going to have nothing to fall on. And when I say nothing to fall on, I mean like that spiritual, how should I say, that spiritual rock that will hold you up when the reality of this system collapse. Because right now, it's like everything's being held up on some skeleton. I don't know how do I put this, because the grace window is closing. Okay, and calamity is coming into America. Okay, and many people are not prepared for this calamity. They're not prepared for this transition that is happening in this world right now. So let's, and those are some of the things that I'm trying to stay, not to jump all over the place, as I want to try to go point by point, so I can go right into some other information I want to bring to you all. And I'm hoping that some of you people take the opportunity and do some actual research. Okay, I'm taking the opportunity to give it to you. Just go check it out. Just confirm it. You know what I mean? Just try and do some research. Okay. And I just want to point that out. So you remember again, the topic is the only purpose you should be really focused is not going to hell. Okay, because that's your eternal salvation. Because that's the last it. Because people think about death. And they focus that, I don't know if they even understand the whole process of death. I know many of us are sad, but I think right now, people that are dying, I'm happy for them. I'm happy that they're leaving this mess in a certain way. It depends on how they die, I should say. Okay, because some people that the Father are taking right now, because He doesn't want them, He has His reasons for who He takes right now, and bless them. they're benefiting from that. Trust me. The ones who are going to be left behind, oh boy, oh no, 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 no. Anyways, let me just continue. I want to stay on point. So, I also say that, people do more physical exercise than spiritual exercise. You see, many times I see a lot of white people. White people always running. And they're jogging, they're running, and they're jogging. Forever running and jogging, white people. And then you see some of our brothers, they be out there running and jogging too. But let me tell you something. You ought to stop running and jogging. You better start praying, is what people need to be doing. Everyone is so focused on their physical, right? No one is concentrated on the internal. Nobody's exercising that internal spirit, right? Getting that right. But, because this is how the world have you all caught up. The whole world has everyone caught up on image. Self-image. Everybody got to be the selfie here, selfie there. Here's my picture. I look beautiful. No, I look more beautiful. This is a mess. Anyways, the next point I wanted to point out, all of your aspirations and even down to your desires has been altered to the system so you can keep indulging in what they want you to be doing. Everyone has the same mentality about what they should be trying to achieve. Now, and when I say that is that, you all may have different subject matters or different areas you all might be trying, but it's the same formula. It's the same process. Pick this and I get a career, and you're gonna go buy a house. Then what? This country, this world is a miserable world. I don't know how any of you will even want to even build anything up in this country. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we it's like this place is a very restricted place. The amount of fees that you have to pay, and everything is a process, a whole lengthy, unnecessary process to get anything accomplished. And they keep putting you in this box and taking you out of that box. You got to go to this person to get this. It's just really a mess. And many of you all really can't even see how you all are so brainwashed. And that's mainly because everybody has been went through this public school system. So therefore, you are just automatically programmed to do that. Many of you all may not even see it. Some of you all are coming out of it. You really are. You're beginning to see, this ain't, school. This school in this country should be the least of you people's problems. I wouldn't focus on trying to so much get an education in this country. I'd be more focused on trying to get my spiritual life open up, because to me, when you're spiritually wise, you just see everything. The Most High lets you understand everything. What people probably go to school to learn in, I don't know how long people spend in college. You can think about 12 years of school, then they'll actually do 4 more years of college. That's about 12 and 4, that's 8, right? 18 years. You have to go through 18 years to learn, maybe some less than short. The Father could teach you that in probably about a day or 2. That's how the Ruach HaKodesh works, right? But I'm just trying to get you people to kind of think about what I'm saying here, Hey. And the one thing I want us to do, anyone stop to ask themselves, where can you find the Most High in Yahushua? You can barely find the presence of the Father and Yahushua, and again you call him Jesus. You can barely find the presence of the Father in society or in the world. Even these churches, I wouldn't say, the churches, these Christian churches, you really can't even include them, because, the hypocrisy and the inappropriateness that goes on in these churches, it's just a mockery, and it's a joke, and it's an insult, and it's a horrible, it's like even an abomination to associate our Father and our Holy Savior with these common churches out here today, because they're not upholding nothing. The pastors are not preaching the full doctrine, the gospel doctrine as they should. That's why the churches are a mess. It's like a no holds bar inside the church house now. It's how it's been. And even when I was going to these churches, I used to always ask myself, every time, I could never understand how all of these men who you can clearly see they were openly gay would be up in the house of the Most High, And it would just always baffle me. And even then, with me not still making the connection that this so-called Christian church that I'm going through supposed to be getting some spiritual fulfillment and growth. It was so inappropriate for me to even be in a house like that. You know what I mean? I mean, we know that now, but I'm just saying, it's a mockery. It's a mockery and it's an abomination to be in the house. And we call it it's a Mosiah, and have a man who's a flaming homosexual, and these women, the way they dress and carry on, it's just not good. So you don't see the Most High. There's no respect for him on an overall overwhelming basis. I'm talking about. I'm not saying that the Most High don't have people loving in a prison. He absolutely does. Oh yes. But I could tell you one thing: those who are putting out the truth for him and Yeshua, they're not as flamboyant, and they don't have as many followers, because a lot of people don't want to accept the truth. A lot of people don't like to gravitate. They gravitate to nonsense. They gravitate to things that is pleasing to them, and it's more accommodating for them and their lifestyle. You see, when you hear something, if they hear something that is against that, then they don't want to hear it. Then oh, I don't want to hear what she got to say. It's not gravitating, because it convicts them, and they don't want to hear that. And this is why the devil's going to be getting rid of a lot of who is going to be coming after the Most High's children and the saints, and killing those who so-called believing in Jesus and Yeshua. You are going to have to really prove your faith when the time comes. Those who will get left behind, you're going to have to, in the worst way, and you got to wake up, people. Your purpose in life should be for the Father in heaven. I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what you're going through. Just focus on Him. And like I said, everybody have a different. He said you cannot serve two masters. So that way is, many of you all have your jobs in this society, in this system. I'm not saying, I don't know how He's going to affect your life. Just that dream. I don't know if you all had listened to that dream that I played in the Sabbath. He said that, he had mentioned that he was going through some serious transitions in his life, and that's probably the Father working in his life. That's the Most High. That's Yahushua working. When things start happening drastic in your life, people, that is a clear indication. That is Yahushua. That's the Ruach. There's a change going on, because He's trying to deliver you, and it may be a very uncomfortable thing, because you are so conditioned, and you're not understanding that these changes are actually for the benefit. They say when it looks like it's going all wrong, that's mean it's going all right, for real. Okay. The other point I wanted to point out, but they keep encouraging you into accepting every vile behavior, which they channel through the education system, through the TV, television, which I keep saying, and I'm going to keep saying it. And they're changing the laws by forcing the society now, and people who are not into this, as homosexuality, transgenderism, bestiality, and sleeping with children. These are the things, people, these are the things now are in our society. All right? I mean, I don't know if you all are paying attention. And so many of you, with the younger generation, y'all probably may not get it as much. I mean, I'm not going to say maybe not as much, because there's some young people out there, they understand that these things here are wrong and outrageous. But I'm just trying to give you a clear picture that this is the last days we are in right now. So therefore, these signs of how these things are being implemented in society to be accepted as normal have to be letting you know something is wrong with this world. Okay? We don't have hardly any of the Most High, any of Yahushua, and you call him Jesus, as He's called Jesus. They don't have any of their presence and acknowledgement to their laws and what they require. Because remember, the Most High, as we know, if you all call Him God, He's the Most High. He's the creator of the whole world. So ideally, His law should be the one should be enforced. But that is clearly from the truth. They don't want to believe that. I think you all heard that if you listen to my segment on miseducated parents, miseducated children, they do not believe in anything that's called higher power. So who's they? That's them. Rothschilds. This is the devil. That's his offsprings, who have established the structure of this government. And now you all are in dealing with this. And this is what's going to bring. This is what's bringing people to hell. This is what's moving the changes in this atmosphere. Everyone is completely unprepared, mainly because you all don't believe. You don't even try to follow up. The enemy is reprogramming you bit by bit. People, you all are being reprogrammed every day. I don't care what it is you're doing. For those of you all who understand what I'm saying, I know many of you all out there, as a percentage of you all are totally into this truth, and you totally can resonate with what I'm saying, even on the spiritual level. Some of you all I'll show you all as the Father is working with you. You all are seeing certain signs. You all are able to read the signs in spiritual language now, because there's a spiritual language you all have to be able to read and perceive, and it's available to anyone who are willing to open yourself to it and seek it, right? But this is what's happening now, and I'm going to give you all some information that I took the time to get from one of the saints that the Most High works with. And I want to present that information. It's about Jay-Z's new album, 444. I want to break that down to you guys. But before I go into Jay-Z's album, I'm going to let you guys listen to this segment. I tried it out. I tested it out. It didn't sound so bad. And hopefully it doesn't sound as bad. It didn't sound too bad when I replayed it. So hopefully it will be okay. The other thing I want to point out, the last but not least, before I get into all of these other things that I want you to hear, and right after I let you hear this segment, I'm going to do the breakdown of Jay-Z's. I'm thinking if I should tell you that first. No, I think I'm going to tell you that afterwards. Yeah. I'm going to save that for the end of it. But I just want to say, people, what about your soul? Nobody is not even thinking about their soul. I talk to some of these guys in the street, and I just ask them, do you understand what your soul means to you? Some of them really don't have an understanding. And that's a dangerous thing, people. That's so dangerous for people who do not comprehend or have an understanding of the value and the weight of their soul. That is the most dangerous thing that is going on right now. That's the lie. That's the deception that the devil has caused people to focus on so many things that are irrelevant, and the things that are carnal, the things that are in total disobedience to the Father in heaven, which causes them to be in sin and out of the Father's goodwill. But the thing is, there's still time for people to repent. There's still time for people to change and to leave from all of these wicked ways, because what's happening is there's more demonic spirits entering in this atmosphere, and that's the whole reason why we have such an influx, and every time you turn around, there's something evil that is happening, heinous is happening, violence, violence, mothers doing things to their children, killing their children. I mean, come on, people. You got to see the situation that it is, man. You just got to see this it is. All right, I want to, before I play this segment, I want to read Proverbs chapter 1, verse 22. How long, O simple ones, will you love being simple? How long will scoffers delight in their scoffing? And fools hate knowledge. Give heed to my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my thoughts to you. I will make my words known to you, because I have called you and you refuse to listen. Have stretched out my hand and no one has heeded. Excuse me. And you have ignored all my counsel and would have none of my reproof. Now, before I go on to say the rest of this scripture, I just want to indicate to people that if you hear when he says, because I have called you and you refuse to listen, and have stretched out my hand and no one has heeded, you have ignored all of my counsel, you would have none of my reproof. Because right now the Father is really, Yahushua has this whole world. He is, as I always said before, he is really bombarding the social media waves with all kinds of information, all kinds of the saints are having dreams, they're having visions. He is pouring down his spirit, doing his best to wake people up right now. Right now. You all people do not understand how limited the time is left for people to get right. Even as I speak, you know, I mean, I don't know how people may perceive me, but like I said, I didn't come here for people to, I'm not looking for nobody's opinion. All I'm looking for to do is to give information, to alert people, to alert them to this evil that they are living in and what is coming and what is transpiring very quickly. No one is prepared. Everyone is still being consumed with this world. And this world is passing away. It is crumbling, and many of you all can't even see the crumbling because you all, they have you consumed. But anyways, let me finish the scripture, because he's doing his best to wake people up. He's doing his best to wake his children up because he doesn't want anyone to perish. You know, and I hope people really, you know, take heed. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when panic strikes you. When panic strikes you like a storm, and your calamity comes like a whirlwind. When distress and anguish come upon you, this is going to happen. This is going to happen right now. Then they will call upon me, but I will not answer. And they will seek me diligently, but they will not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of Yahuwah, would have none of my counsel and despise all of my reproof. Therefore they will eat the fruit of your way. So that is to let you all know right now, whatever you all are doing, whatever you all are entertaining, and you know, people are trying to tell you it's time for you to change your ways. It's time for you to look at your life. It's time to make sure that your life is in accordance with the Bible. If many of you all out there, some of you all are still holding the philosophy that the Bible is not true and it's the white man wrote the Bible, that is literally nothing but a bold-faced lie. I implore you to read the Bible for yourself and seek that determination. If you do not want to read the Bible, it's because you simply do not want to want to be told that maybe the way that you live your life is not the right way, and therefore you're going to reject it. Many people reject the Bible because they don't want to change. It's easier to say that the white man wrote the Bible, and therefore that will prevent you from having to be convicted, you see. But I'm going to tell you something. If you think that you will stand before Yahushua on the day of judgment, and you're going to tell him the reason why you didn't read the word, because it says study to show yourself approved. All right? And if you think you're going to tell him, I didn't read the Bible because the white man wrote it, I mean, you're going to be so petrified anyways, you ain't going to know what to say, because, well, it's not, you're not going to be able to tell him that. He's going to say, I did not know you, and you're going to go exit straight left into hell. You really are. So my hope and prayer is that you don't fall into that deception, you know. And some will not believe, but I just want to make sure that you all understand. He says, because I have called you, because I have called, and you refuse to listen. So that's saying, that scripture says, because he's calling right now. He's calling as many as he can. I mean, I've put out some dreams, people all over the world. He's calling people. He's trying to wake his children up. Actually, in this segment, I didn't plan to put a dream in it because I wanted to just focus on this particular segment with the human hybrids. I wanted to focus on that, but the next segment I'm bringing up, I will be doing a segment. It's on some numbers. I'm just compelled to do this because I know a lot of you all, a lot of the Hebrew Israelites, the stiff-necked people out there, a lot of people out there complaining and murmuring about a lot of things. And I just want you all to understand get an understanding of what the Father appreciates and what he doesn't appreciate. So, and those are the things that do not get, again, discussed in your day-to-day past, your churches, wherever you all go. Because if you all are any church, the church should be alerting people to get their lives right. And these even I'm gonna do something for the homosexuals, because he sent a dream for the homosexuals, and I'm gonna play that dream. All right. But anyways, let's get into. I want you all to hear. This human hybrids. All right. I want you all to hear what these people. What's happening in this government, in this world, what you all are going to be dealing with, what you all are going to be encountering, okay? Because many of you all may not have heard about this. Maybe some of you all have. I don't know the percentage of people, what they do and what they don't do on a day-to-day basis. I know that there's a percentage who don't like to do nothing and just like to not believe and just have their own, they don't want to take the time to find out nothing. And that's what Father Yahuwah is talking about. He said, because you hate knowledge, because fools hate knowledge. Give heed to my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my thoughts to you. So he's pouring out his thoughts to you. And what he thinks, what he wants done, what he wants to see happen. These things are being poured out. Even as I speak, he speaks to his people. He said he will use Israel as a weapon, as a sword. I think it's a sword. It's almost like a sword. I don't have the exact scripture, but that's how there's a breakdown of how he will use his nations. And right now, he is using his saints to speak this word. I'm speaking it. Remember, he lives in all of us. Okay? And he's just trying to get people up. You all have to stop taking your lives for granted. You see that song I played? You all are caught in a trap. It is a trap. You all have to wake up and see this trap right now. If you all don't wake up and see this trap, you're going to stay in the trap. All right. I'm going to let y'all listen to about, let me see. I think I said I wanted you all to listen about, I'm starting it from the beginning because I was trying to figure out how much of it I should play. Because it's a long segment. It's a long, when I say it's about 54 minutes, and I'm not going to play the whole 54 minutes. What I will do is I'll include this in my segment. Feel free to click on it and watch it. Because I'm just trying to wake you up, alert you, bring you information, all right? Spiritually, open your eyes to truth. I'm trying to bring you truth. I'm trying to bring you reality of what your world is right now, Okay, so my prayer is that this will be okay. You all will hear it. And I'm going to listen to the segment, okay? And make sure it sounds well enough, and then you all can hear it, okay? All right, so here goes. Let me make sure I started it from the beginning. Now, it may sound, might be a little, it sounds like what I want to say, I'm sorry. It's like it's a pause, all right? It's kind of like one of those slow starts. So just be patient with me, okay? And be patient with the process. Okay, here it goes.
Were not even terms that existed, but it was following on the bio.
I'm sorry. I thought that was from the beginning. All right, here we go. This should be right now. This is the pause part. But it will start in a second.
The way I became acquainted with this whole exotic idea of transhumanism, I was doing research, actually. I was a writer and doing research for one of the largest U.S. newspapers out of Oklahoma. And this is maybe 20-some years ago. And doing research on the history of Halloween, of all things, and somewhere I came across a term that I had never seen before called transgenics. Now, I didn't know what transgenics was, but I could kind of put two and two together. Trans, genes, that somehow we're talking here about genetic engineering, the altering of genes. And I became fascinated with this idea because back then the science was brand new. There was not, biotechnology, nanotechnology. These were not even terms that existed. but it was following on the heels of the mapping of the human genome, which then was giving both the birth to a promise and also to the sciences that we are going to be able to do things with genetics. We'll be able to heal our bodies. We'll be able to make ourselves stronger. There was a great deal of promise that was emerging quickly, and the science to back it up, at least in theory. And so I started doing research into transgenics, and at the time it wasn't very easy to get information. The internet was brand new. Certainly the science wasn't old enough for there to be much, that had been published in peer-reviewed journals. And I wanted to know what is the good and what is the bad and what is transgenics. And I came to understand that transgenics was simply the crossing over of species barriers. This could be done at the level of just organisms. This could be done all the way up to the level of sentient beings, that you could literally blend one kind of a creature with another creature. Why would we want to do that? What would be the purpose behind it? That was what motivated me. And quickly I began to realize that both the military and also the pharmaceutical industry both had an interest in transgenics. The military, because they thought they might be able to create exotic new forms of materials that could be used. For instance, one of the first successes was a project that was funded by DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, in which they created transgenic goat spiders, actually spider goats. And the reason that they did this was because they knew that spider silk is amazingly resilient, lightweight, but very strong. And yet it's not very easy, to create a spider farm where you can milk spiders for their silk. But they knew that they could do this with goats. And so one of the first successes in transgenics was creating a goat which was part spider. It could actually grow spider silk in its milk. And then they could use this for making lightweight bulletproof vests. They could use it for creating cargo nets. But since that time until now, as we may discover later on in this discussion, it has become far more sophisticated in terms of the military's interest and the amount of dollars that are flowing into research that grew out of those early forms of transgenic science. On the other side of transgenics, which is probably the biggest part of where the funding is coming from today, is in the pharmaceutical industry. Pharmaceuticals, why? Because the industry often has to labor with the FDA to try to get permission to do testing of new drug therapies on human subjects. It's very daunting, that task, to try to get a promising new remedy potentially for some kind of debilitating disease, and then to be able to take and start trying that medicine, which is unproven on human test subjects, is not easy to do. Well, the pharmaceutical industry saw right away that they would be able to take animals and put human DNA into the animals, create a human-animal chimera, and then they could work around this problem with getting permission from federal agencies to do human experimentation, and now they could test new drugs in human-animal chimeras to see how the human elements of that creature might respond in a way that they're hoping for with these drug therapies. That too has also grown a great deal since those original transgenic experiments, in that now, of course, what the public most usually hears about is human-animal chimeras that are being created for the purposes of developing stem cell lines, and then the stem cell lines can be used for testing new therapies in hopes that we're going to lead to cures for a variety of human diseases and ailments. Anyway, it was the discovery of transgenics and my interest in why we would have an interest in funding research into crossing over species barriers that then led me to discover that behind these emerging fields of science was a new cultural movement called transhumanism. And transhumanists are made up today really of all walks of life, everything from college kids to old hippies to academics and professionals. It has become a cultural movement, and it's quickly growing. It's international. Today, there's a Christian Transhumanist Association, there's a Buddhist Transhumanist Association, there's a Muslim Transhumanist, there's a Mormon Transhumanist, and then there's just a Transhumanist Association. And for whatever reason, I've had the privilege of somehow becoming connected with some of the leading figures in the world in this area. In fact, Dr. James Hughes, who was the president of the World Transhumanist Association, when he was still the head of the WTA, contacted me and asked if I would come on his syndicated radio show, which is called Change Surfer Radio. Dr. Hughes is a bioethicist. He teaches at Trinity College in Hartford, Connecticut. He's a sociologist. He was and is really the man, the top shelf, if you will. So I agreed to do his show. And I went on his show, and not very well prepared either, but to debate the ethics of crossing over species barriers in ways that are completely unnatural. And why would we want to do that? Now, of course, as a Christian, and I would probably still consider myself a conservative Christian, I believe in a divine order. In other words, I believe that God was at the beginning of creation, and God, for whatever reasons, placed barriers between the species in order that each kind would only reproduce after its own kind. So in the back of my mind, of course, I want to know, what does God know that we don't know? Why did he do that? But then I would say that even if you didn't believe in divine creation, if you are an evolutionist, what we are doing now was not allowed for by evolution either. Natural selection has not done what we are now doing. And so for me, it was a cause for alarm that, they talk about throwing off the balance of nature. We were talking about doing it in ways that a former generation could not have even imagined. So today, the World Transhumanist Association had an original cause. It was really to bring international attention to the idea that through emerging fields of science, we would soon be able to alter what it means to be a human, literally rewrite our DNA, alter ourselves by altering our genetic makeup, create humans, Homo sapiens 2.0. The movement today is often called H+, which just simply means humans plus. A transhuman is in a transitionary state of being. They are human. They are wanting to transition into something else, but ultimately they want to become a post-human, something that has become so radically altered from what we are today as to no longer even be considered to be human. And they imagine creating Homo sapien 2.0 through the use of technology, from neuropharmacology to nanotechnology, genetic engineering, stem cell sciences, robotic assistance, brain-machine interfacing, all of the new fields of science that could have an application for human enhancement is important to the transhumanist movement. Now, the World Transhumanist Association had an original goal of bringing international attention to the movement, and there was a point at which they believed that they had succeeded at doing that. And so they dropped the World Transhumanist Association name and changed it to the IEET, the Institute for Ethics and Emerging Technology. Dr. Hughes is also now the CEO or the president of the IEET, and most of the most well-known names in the world that are also involved in transhumanism, such as Nick Bostrom of Oxford University, are chairs or members of the IEET. So somehow, I never, set out to somehow become involved as the nemesis, if you will, of the transhumanist movement, and I've actually became friends with people like Dr. Hughes. He has since been on my radio show. We recently did a series where we were talking about the question, are we alone in the universe, which was raised by the Royal Academy of Scientists out of the UK. And we had him come on, and he talked about, the future space travel from a transhumanist point of view, and how our bodies could be enhanced to make us more adaptable to zero gravity states and things like that. So, but the movement is very serious, and it's being taken very serious in the world today, from academia to university studies, and you'll be surprised to find out the amount of revenue literally in the tens of millions to the billions of dollars that are flowing into this futuristic dream of transhumanism now and the adaptation of various fields of science, which will be used in the very near future to alter what it means to be a human. The science is being developed now according to the world's best and government experts. It's being tested in laboratory settings and is slowly being adapted so that it can be used as a tool for actually altering what it means to be a human. With regards to who would be funding, who has an interest, that's where it begins to become really surprising, and that actually is not too difficult to verify even from secular but reputable news sources. For instance, if you were to go to Google today and type in transhumanism, you would find something like 250,000 web pages now around the world that are dedicated to both the study, philosophy, but this new worldview called transhumanism. However, if you were to type in genetic engineering laboratories, you'd find more than 24 million websites in the world now dedicated to the subject of genetic engineering, which is, of course, one of the sciences that the transhumanists aspire to believe that this is going to be used to alter what it means to be a human. Now, on the ground, what does it mean? Here in the United States of America, you may remember where a few years ago, 2006, I believe, George W. Bush, in a State of the Union address, called for legislation to be enacted that would prohibit the creation of human-animal chimeras. And he wasn't just talking about embryos for experimentation, because he also talked about prohibiting the creation of exotic human life forms that could be patented. Why would the President of the United States, in a speech of record, be calling for legislation that would prohibit this technology? It's because it's emerging very quickly. And we know now that there are those rogue scientist wannabes, the Dr. Moreaus, who are already raising these to full maturity. And we can come to some of those admissions in this interview as well. For example, one of the first things that President Obama did at the executive level, as soon as he became president, he overturned restrictions that had been put in place by President Bush, which would have prohibited federal dollars, American taxpayer money, flowing in to pay for experiments to be done on human-animal chimeras and other forms of science such as stem cell sciences, which is also important to the transhumanist movement. But what most of the public doesn't realize, when we're talking about stem cell sciences, we're almost always talking about the creation of a human-animal chimera from which those stem cells are being derived. But now tax dollars in the United States from the federal level are flowing into thousands of laboratories. In the state that I live in Missouri, for instance, there is a farm that is raising transgenic pigs that are part human. They're using these pigs to actually grow organs in a test in the hopes that these humanized organs in the pigs can then be transplanted into people who are on donor waiting lists. Now, you know, years ago they called this xenotransplantation, and they had hoped to just implant entire pig organs inside humans, but the human bodies in the tests kept wanting to reject these pig organs. Now, though, with human DNA actually growing inside of a pig, we may be able to create an organ that can solve this problem of organ donation. But that kind of funding from the federal level now is flowing into states in a way that had been prohibited under the Bush administration. But it goes deeper. In 2006, a fantastic thing happened. The Department of Health, which is the largest department in the United States of America, which funds research into health issues, provided $773,000 to Case Law School in Cleveland, Ohio, for one reason: to develop over a 24-month period the guidelines that will be used, according to their own press release at Case Law School, used for creating policy for human enhancement regarding the next step in human evolution. Max Melhelm, who is the law professor and a bioethicist at Case Law School, was given the responsibility of leading the team of 24 to 36 months field study, if you will, using actual test subjects, human subjects, according to the original press release, would be used for devising how policy, government policy, can be extended to human non-humans. Well, because it started in 2006, and we knew that the target ending date for this study, which was being done not just by Max Melhelm, but law professors, bioethicists, genetic engineers, people who work in the fields of genetic alteration, that within 24 months to 36 months this field study would be done. 2009 was the target date for the report to be issued. So I waited with bated breath. In what way did Case Law School actually use human test subjects to provide what the government wants, guidelines to be used for human enhancement, to set the policy for how, for instance, will the Constitution, how will the Bill of Rights be extended to a human non-human? How much of a living entity has to be human before it can be protected under our laws? Must it be 90% human and 10% something else, 50% human? So I wanted to know. Well, the end of the test came, and no public statements have been forthcoming. But what I noticed was that Professor Melhelm now, immediately at the end of the study, started traveling the United States giving lectures at universities. And he's giving 2 different lectures, and this is the title of his lectures. One is called Directed Evolution, Public Policy and Human Enhancement. And the second lecture he's given now is Transhumanism and the Future of Democracy. And you can go to the Arizona State University, and that second lecture is actually available as a podcast. You can download the lecture unless they remove it from the time this film is made until the time somebody might go to download it, but you can actually go and download it. So here you not only have the President of the United States loosing federal funds to go into research on human-animal chimeras, stem cell lines, various kinds of laboratory experiments on humans that could then be applied later on down the road through a transhumanist philosophy, the use of those technologies, but it's actually being funded through the U.S. Department of Health to actually set the policy and guidelines for how the law will be applied to human non-humans. It even goes deeper. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, has for over the last decade been funding to the tune literally of billions of dollars research into what they call the Extended Performance Warfighter. They have since removed the document, the original document on the Extended Performance Warfighter program from DARPA's own website, but a person can Google and find the same articles that were originally published being cached across the internet. The interesting parts about the Extended Performance Warfighter is that it even includes literally altering the DNA of soldiers. The public may more commonly hear this referred to as super soldier technology. But it got interesting this year. The 2011 budget for DARPA, which can be downloaded at Wired magazine if a person wants to go and read the DARPA budget, allows millions of dollars for what they are calling biodesign. Biodesign is actually outlined in the budget. The purpose of it has to do with immortalism. The purpose of it is to literally discover how cellular destruction occurs and why in regeneration of cellular decay, we as humans don't wind up at 100% again, and we begin to age. And DARPA has an interest in figuring out how to get around the decaying process of cellular life. And they use the term creating an immortal organism. But it's more than just an organism. They consider it to be potentially a lethal force that can be used in military application. Wired magazine actually referred to it as a living, breathing creature. And DARPA admits that the force of this living creature, this immortal organism, could be so potent that it ought to also have what they call a kill switch introduced into its organism, so that in case it gets out of hand, we can throw the switch and stop it, or if it became available to our enemies, we could throw the switch and stop it. So that in the United States, we know that from the federal level, under Obama, revenue is flowing into this research. We know that from the U.S. Department of Health, revenue is flowing into this research. From the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. And if a person wants to do their homework, they'll find out that it's also the Air Force, the Navy, the Army, all of our military laboratories are funding now, to the tunes of millions and billions of dollars, research into fields that also include the altering of their soldiers for the purposes of having total battlefield domination in the future. But a person should also be aware that this technology is not just limited to the United States of America. In Australia, in China, in Great Britain, all around the world, literally tens of thousands of laboratories are receiving both federal and private funding for this kind of research. In the United States, even when Bush had called for restrictions on federal funding, it didn't stop the research here. It simply was being done through private grants and private dollars. There were no laws that were stopping people from doing human-animal research here. But now it starts to get really interesting in that even the scientific community is making admissions, which, of course, I was suspicious of anyway for some time. There was a Reuters article about 6 months ago called "Scientists Want Debate on Animals with Human Genes." And it turns out that the scientists that were being interviewed were the same scientists that 24 months ago were involved in what was called the human embryology discussions out of Great Britain. Laboratories wanted to receive federal funding, public money, to finance their investigations and experiments, which included altering humans and altering animals, at least at the embryonic stage. And there was such public outcry in Britain about it that the government decided to have a public forum, and they allowed different people, ethicists, bioethicists, even religious scholars, to weigh in on the question of whether or not it would be ethical to begin altering humans at, of course, in the beginning, the embryonic level, but later on perhaps to full maturity.
Okay, I'm going to stop here. I know I let you all listen to a good bit of that. And I just wanted to give you a piece of it so you all could understand, hear for yourself. I mean, I wrote down so many things that we could talk about. But before I get into this, I mean, people, I hope you all really are paying attention. There's a couple things that I'm going to point out in this clip that you all should take heed to. You heard when he said they made spider goats. I can't even begin to imagine what the heck a spider goat will ever look like. I don't want to even see it, okay? The other thing I want you all to, I hope you picked up on, he said they do, drugs to human, what did I put the note down here? I was writing so fast. Human pig, right? Drugs to humans, and I can't make out what I wrote, but anyways, moving right along. I know you picked up that with this they're crossing over species. College kids, he mentioned academic professionals, Christian transhumanism. Okay, people, you all have to pay attention. This is serious. He said God was creation. God created creation, and he placed borders. Absolutely, there was a reason why he did that. But now we have these Frankensteins. That man is a Frankenstein. And he's totally delusional. All of these people are delusional. He said that they want to alter human DNA. He says altering human DNA. That's what their goal is, all right? Homo sapien, have you heard him say? Homo sapien 2.0. That's the new human. Okay, this is all part of transhumanism. Robotic. You all saw, I know there's some movies out there that shows man and machine together. I'm telling you, what they're showing you is where they're going. And I just told you, this is a real this is a real life documentary that was done. Okay, so this ain't about the movies no more. This is what they're doing. That's why they're putting it in the movies. They're preparing you. All right, application for human enhancement. Now, what's the disgusting thing about this? You see how much money these people spend to do all these freak of nature things? $10 billion, $24 million. Okay, they're creating government policies to be able to allow this type of to give these transhumanism people rights. Okay. Now, just listen to this now. You heard when he said $10 billion flowing in for I wrote so fast. I think for transhumanism. That's what I wrote. They have 250 web pages that's dedicated to transhumanism, and 24 million genetic engineering websites. That's scary as hell. I couldn't imagine how many. You hear what I just said, people? Did you hear what this man said? He said there is 24 million genetic engineering websites. That is for what does it mean? What does it mean to really be human? You got to see where these people are going. And Obama overturned what was in place, prohibiting federal textiles. But you know something? These presidents, Obama and Bush, they're all into the same thing together. They play games. They play games. That's all for you. That's all for show. To make the American people feel that they're working in their best interests. They play games. And behind the scenes, Obama and Bush, they're the best friends. They're buddies. They're all buddies behind the closed doors. This game that they play with each other, saying words against each other, antagonize each other, that's all for show. It's all for show. I hope you all picked up pigs, pot human. They have pigs that are pot human, a pot human pig. I mean, what the heck is that? Okay, people, you all got to wake up. And these things are forbidden. And those pigs have, what do you call this, trichomoniasis, I think it's called. So they got people walking around with pig organs in them. People, I pray to the Most High, none of you all need any kind of transplant. Now you see when they started this nonsense, 2006, I believe they started way before that. But I'm just giving you see it, I'm pointing out that date. Government policy now is going to be geared towards non-humans. They can't even have policies that really help human beings overall. Right? Now the Bill of Rights to be extended to non-humans and transhumanism. I'm just going to run through a couple of things that this man pointed out. I just want you all to pick up on what's being said to you. Okay? And that famous treacherous word democracy. Right? Remember I tell you about democracy and the miseducation and miseducating parents and miseducating children? This is what the indoctrination is all about. Having you to conform to this democracy. Alright? I want to talk about the billions of dollars. There's billions of dollars, yet the world is poor and is growing and growing. So they have all this money that they put and back behind all of these perverse unholy altercation of human and lab experiments that they're doing. This is what they're doing, people. Altering, they said now, this is the part I wanted y'all to hear, the altering of DNA of soldiers. So these cops out there, they may not even be real. You see? Because they don't even have any feeling. That's why I'm telling you, things are going to get worse for you all people. This is what they're doing. This is what's doing. Let's go down. DARPA, DARPA is you can find them on Wired magazine. Please go there. Go there and find out about these things. The pro-design is for immortalism. They're looking to try to live forever. Remember the scripture said they will look to die and can't die. They will look to die and can't die. Now you know why. Because of this forbidden experiment, Frankenstein, unholy experiment that they're doing. And they say these things are considered to be a lethal force, a living, breathing creature. All right, and they said, you notice he emphasized that they control the switch to stop it. That is why, that's another thing I want to bring that in, the RFID chip. Okay, people, any one of you all take that RFID chip, they're going to be able to throw that switch off. That's what that chip is going to be like in your body. People don't get that RFID chip. I just wanted to bring that up there because I just wanted to let you see how they can control people. Okay, now they think they're going to be able to control, but they may not be able to control these damn things. You know? What did I write here? I was writing so fast. The battlefield domination. You hear that? For war. Altering human and animal at the embryonic stage. I think that was the last thing I wrote on it. So you know that they're doing this from the womb. They already have these things, people. Just because you don't see it, they have it. This is crazy. This is really nuts. But anyways, this is unbelievable. This is just, it's satanic, is what it is. That's what it is. Now, there's another sister who is into the truth. I took the opportunity. Her name is Messenger Paula. Wakefulness Theology. I implore you all to go and look at her and check out. I implore people who have the ability to have a spiritual understanding, and even for those who are still trying, the Ruach will certainly help you to understand it. But you all have to do the work and clean your temples and keep your lamps full so the Ruach can help you and be sin free. I'm sorry. Let me just drink a little tea here. So, this is some information I want to implore people to do a little research on. Now, I'm also going to talk about Jay-Z's new album. That's one of the things I wanted to talk about. Okay, I'm going to break this down to you guys so you all can understand this treachery that they are doing on the mass of people. Okay? So there's a thing called the D4 wave. That's a quantum computer. Please go and research what that is. All right? So Jay-Z's new album, 4.44. 444. So that's a global brain, which is the beast, the devil. This is a question they're asking. What if the quantum computer used a hard drive that's made of DNA, human DNA? You all need to think about that, people. I don't know if you all are ready for that. I don't think you all are ready for that. Now let me break something down here for you all. Now there's a 2 DNA strand, and each one contains each one is composed of 4 nitrogen containing a nuclear basis. That's a C for a C, G, A, and T, okay, which is 4.4. Each of them, right? Remember I said each one is composed of 4 nitrogen. So they want to do a 3-strand DNA. So instead of it being just 4.4, they're going to have 4.44. I hope you all are able to understand what I'm just saying. There's 2 DNA strands, and each one contains, right? Each one contains composed of 4 nitrogen. So each DNA has 4 nitrogen containing nuclear bases. That's the C, the G, the A, and the T. They want to add a 3rd one. All right. What is a G quadruplex? Which is what they want to do. The G quadruplex is like the 3-dimensional tower within a multiple floors. All right. But that, I don't know if you all may understand that specifically, but what that is referring to is a tower. That's how the DNA strand is. It looks like a tower. All right. So here's what's going on. So the Jay-Z's album, all right, the logo 4.44, that's what they're talking about, DNA. So Jay-Z's album is saying and representing the concept of DNA manipulation in order to have quantum computers use DNA as their hard drives. So his album is promoting that, okay? This has to do with transhumanism and humans becoming the computer. So they have all kinds of, freak of nature things that they're doing, people, all right? I just let you listen, and I know that was long, but I think you all need to hear it. It was about 22 minutes, and I think it was well worth your while. This is what they are using 4.44. This is how they are promoting this new deception to the masses. Humans becoming computers. So they are synthesizing DNA and using to store as hard drive. All right. So they're using DNA, human DNA, to be stored as hard. They're synthesizing it right now. So creating artificial DNA to use as storage as a computer memory. Totally, you would typically have the hard drive that's made of silicone, but now y'all gonna have a hard drive that's made of DNA. I don't want that kind of hard drive. They can keep it. I wouldn't even use computers no more if that's the case. I'm done with that. And if you all should be too. I mean, I hope you all. Anyway, so going on to another part of this that she was breaking down, and I'm just breaking it down to you guys. Mental programming. Jay-Z, There is a human mental programming, monarchy programming that is happening right now. Okay? This all has to do with his album, and Beyonce is a part of it. Okay? The celebrities are programmed, people. I don't know if you all know that, but I think you all should know that by now. These celebrities are all programmed. Okay? And they have keywords in their songs that is programming the massive. Key phrases that are being sung. Alright? Key words that are being said. Alright? The people that are their fans are being brainwashed. Okay? And there was another code that I think you all people might have heard sometimes out in these social agencies. There's one of them I remember used to call it 51A. And when that 51A is mean when somebody is becoming psychiatric unstable. All right? And that's what Kanye West had. Kanye West had a 5150. Sometimes they will say 5150, which is what they get switched. When a lot of these celebrities are going to start having a 5150, they're going to start breaking down. Okay? Because they program these celebrities and they use these celebrities as examples. So what's going to happen is, in other words, the whole process means there's a chance that Beyonce might have a breakdown. Y'all better look out for that. That might happen. So what they want to do is what happens is when they want. Let me see. Again, God forgive me because I was writing down kind of fast. They want to activate this code to cause people to flip out, as well as the same programming, but this will happen in a massive scale. So in other words, what I've written was, the same programming that flips these stars out is going to flip a massive amount of people, because there's keywords and key phrases that is going to trigger them. Because remember that these people idolize these celebrities. They listen to a lot of their music, so they're pretty much being conditioned and being programmed as they continue to listen to the music. All right. Okay. Now I said, this is a time when you can ask yourself, why is people doing such heinous crimes? Why is mothers killing their children? Because you got to admit, there's a lot of people out there right now that's doing like a lot of off-the-wall things. I mean, there's a programming, it's monarch programming, which I know some of you all may be already aware of. But for those who are not, please follow up. All right. Now, also, she added to. There's a code in this. I think it's Beyonce and Lady Gaga have this this music video called Telephone something. It's with the telephone. And if you look at that video, there's a lot of subliminal messages in that video. That video pretty much is really letting the people know there's going to be people. I think how they're saying is, when they want to trigger people to do like act, the people who have been brainwashed and who are programmed, they're going to activate these people by calling them on their phones. Somehow they're going to call them on the phone. Certain words might be activated on them. Somehow, everybody who's being programmed, we're going to get a phone call. And that phone call is going to trigger them to do some things that are off the hook. So I just want you all to be mindful of this, pay attention to it, And, 4.44 is the corruption of the holy thing. Now 44, I had mentioned in one of my videos, one of my segments, that 44 is Yahushua, because the 4 represents it's almost like the cross. If you open up a sign of a cross and it folds it up, it can fold into the number 4. So that's why we get the 44. You have the cross itself is really represents a 4, and the fact that it is presented that Yahushua was killed on a cross and was persecuted on the cross, and him being stretched out like a cross, he is a 4 himself. So there you get the 44. So the corruption goes with the 4.44 because they are trying to recreate DNA and recreate human DNA to what this wicked, perverted way that the devil is the one who is orchestrating mankind to do. Right? This is pretty much what my segment was. So going back over it, I hope that this segment was informative to you people today. So again, the whole purpose of people right now, your only purpose to me should be, you should not be going to hell. You know, that should be your main aspirations. You know, I mean, if you're exercising and trying to get yourself in shape every day, make sure you get down on them knees and exercise your spiritual prayer life, the same capacity that you emphasize in your physical condition, your physical well-being, you know, and your body, you know, making sure you are keeping your physical body enhanced, you know. So I just want to again, this is about waking people up, you know, and I wanted you all to hear, but as human hybrids are real. And you have to understand this is the world that you all are living in, and you need to get ready for this. And either the only way you're going to be ready for this is that you're going to have to be spiritually prepared. You need to be spiritually prepared, spiritually sealed. With the Father, please stop doing whatever sin that you all are going on in your life. Please try to, you know, get into a relationship with Yahushua right now is the time. There's no more time. Things are happening quick. Look at the heinousness of the things that are going on in this world. Look at it. You know, you cannot believe after all of these things that I am presenting to you people, with this transhumanism, the dreams, you have to know the end is near. The end is right now. You know, I know that, you know, we're caught into a trap. This is a serious trap. And you all gotta, you know, you gotta find the only way out of this trap is Yahushua HaMashiach, and you all call him Jesus. Okay? So I hope that this segment was again informative. I hope you follow up and do some of the research. Go find out about D-Wave quantum computers. I gave you some information about Jay-Z's new album and what that whole 4.44 really is representing and what it's pushing. You see how they be pushing things on the masses and how they brainwash you and trying to condition you into accepting things that you don't even normally wouldn't accept. But they're brainwashing, they're programming you. You know? All right, people be blessed. I hope that this woke somebody up and you all following up, you know? All praises unto the Most High, okay? Caught into a trap.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. They were caught in a trap. Ooh, yeah. Caught into a trap. No easy way out. Fighting to stay alive, boy. With the system on our backs. Caught into a trap. No easy way out. Fighting to stay alive, with the system on our backs. How can we say that we're living one way when the troubles of time, boy, force us to be another way? You can't tell your brother that he's doing something's wrong without having to argue, 'cause of the pressure of time. Yeah, Babylon's got to hold on our throat, running our belly like sweet nanny goat, reaching for a dream which we cannot achieve, slaves by our mind when we think